Hey there besties! Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're continuing our recap of the manhwa, Like Husband, Like Son. If you're new to this series, check the description below for links to previous episodes. Lastly, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy the video. It really helps our channel grow. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get started. Lee speculated, "I think the president's wife may have offended someone, and now they've hired people to flood the internet with negative comments about her." He paused, choosing his words carefully before addressing Marco. "Should we get someone to remove the comments?" "No," Marco replied firmly. "If we start deleting them, it'll only make it seem like Sophia is using her influence to silence people, which would make things worse." "But people are slowly uncovering details about Madam," Lee countered, concerned. "Secretary Lee," Marco said, stretching out his hand. "Give me my Weibo account and password." "Right away," Lee responded, handing him the phone. Marco quickly logged in and posted a photo of him and Sophia, which instantly caused a stir in the media. Master Jen posted on Weibo. A staff member exclaimed, startling the room. The reaction online was immediate. Fifi Yu, a well-known commentator, replied, "As the wife of Jen Yi's president, and with him showing his love so openly, you'd have to be insane to think she's someone's mistress. With a husband like Master Jen, who you couldn't find even if you searched the world, there's no way she'd be a mistress," a staff typed enthusiastically. "Vice President Yu just commented too," another colleague noted. "Whoever started these rumors must be delusional. They thought the world would believe them, but clearly someone's just jealous." The buzz continued, prompting Sonia to tense up. If Sophia were truly a mistress, would Marco Jen, who's always so low profile, really show his affection for her so publicly? Another comment read, "The one hiding behind these rumors is obviously feeling guilty." Sonia's mind raced, panic settling in as she read the comments. How did this happen? She thought, stunned. After years of planning, everything had backfired, exposing Marco and Sophia's relationship even more. Furious, she threw her phone, trembling as she stared at the photo Marco posted. With a deep breath, Sonia picked up her phone and made a call. "Twain, find the girl I abandoned 5 years ago. I don't care how, you must find her." Her voice was sharp, recalling the details. She had a pink birthmark shaped like a butterfly on her arm. Her mind drifted back to the day of Sophia's delivery. She had grabbed the first baby and discovered Sophia had twins. Scoffing at the sight of a girl, she had sneered, "A girl's useless. Get her away from me. I'll wait for the boy." The doctor had complied without question, taking the infant away. "It's been years," Twain replied hesitantly. "You threw her on the streets. Finding her might be difficult, but I'll do my best." "Not your best, you must find her," Sonia shouted. "If the girl looks like Marco Jen, deal with her. If she looks like Sophia, bring her to me." Sonia's mind darkened. "Let's see if luck is on my side or Sophia's," she mused. A long-lost daughter. Would she really reunite with Sophia? "What a nightmare that would be," Twain said. He hesitated. "What's the use of bringing this girl back? Just do as I say." Sonia snapped, her thoughts growing even more sinister. "Sophia, you think my petty schemes were the worst I could do? No. My real strength is in my plans. That girl might be your greatest downfall." Meanwhile, at the Jenny Group office, Sophia went to get coffee, only to notice her colleagues staring at her from their desks. She smiled awkwardly. "What's going on?" she asked, trying to stay casual. "It's nothing," Fifi Yu said dryly, though her tone was anything but reassuring. "They just heard that you're supposedly a mistress who broke up a marriage, destroyed a family, abused your stepson, and are after the inheritance." Sophia froze, feeling a bead of sweat on her forehead. "What?" She glanced around, baffled. "Okay, Vice President Yu, stop teasing our president's wife," a colleague chimed in with a light laugh. "What is happening?" Sophia asked again, even more confused. "Go check the president's Weibo account," the colleague said, playfully nudging her. "Everyone knows now. Marco has a Weibo account," she muttered, rushing to her laptop to verify. When she saw the photo of her and Marco, her face flushed with a smile. She quickly made a post of her own, confirming that they were legally married and clearing up the rumors. The office was abuzz with reactions. "Mrs. Jen, come here," Marco replied on Weibo, sending the entire office into a stunned silence. Jealous glances filled the room. Sophia, stop showing off your love in front of us singles. We've already had enough of the president's flaunting, one colleague joked, clutching her head dramatically. How heartless. Another sighed, turning red. Oh my, I can't take it anymore. Another exclaimed, fanning herself. Flaunt your love, die first, Fifi, you added with mock jealousy. Sophia giggled, sticking out her tongue as she teased, it's better than having nothing to flaunt. She smiled softly and walked out of the office, feeling lighter, even as the whispers followed her. Mr. Jen, Sophia said softly as she stepped into his office. Marco glanced up and motioned her over with a simple, come. Without hesitation, Sophia moved into his arms, where they shared a brief kiss. His embrace was warm, and as they locked eyes, she couldn't help but think, he's even more playful than I expected, but I like it. Later that afternoon, as they walked with little Romeo hand in hand, the boy eagerly piped up, Sweetie, can we have McDonald's today? I've been healthy lately, I promise I won't get a tummy ache. Sophia glanced at Marco, noticing a slight tension in his face as he considered Romeo's request. Yes, but just this once, Marco finally said. Yeah. I knew Daddy loves me the most. Romeo cheered, clearly thrilled by his father's rare agreement. Sophia smiled to herself, thinking, the events online today must have put Marco in a good mood. They soon arrived at the McDonald's, and as they entered, curious glances and whispers followed them. Isn't that Master Jen and his wife? Someone murmured in amazement. They're all over the headlines today, and now we've run into them. At the counter, a man greeted Marco. Master Jen, why are you here? He asked, catching Marco's attention. Hi, Auntie. A cheerful little girl beside him called out, waving to Sophia. Annie, what are you doing here? And who's this? Sophia asked, bending down to speak to the girl. This is Liam, Fifi's brother, Marco explained, smiling. Miss Tang, Liam said politely. They all sat down together, Annie bouncing with excitement. Uncle Yu is so nice. He buys me lots of yummy food, toys, and pretty clothes, she said happily, sipping her drink. Sophia observed the girl closely, feeling a hint of tension. Annie looks just like Liam, she thought uneasily. Hello, are you Annie? Little Romeo asked warmly. Sweetie told me about you. Hi. Annie replied with a big smile. Sophia leaned in, curious. Chloe is a good friend of mine. How did you two meet? She asked Liam. I used to have a crush on Chloe, but I haven't seen her for many years, Liam began. When I heard Chloe had disappeared some time ago, I wanted to help by taking care of Annie temporarily. That's how we got close. Marco raised an eyebrow. You haven't seen Chloe for years. How did you know she disappeared recently? He asked, catching Liam off guard. Okay. Liam hesitated before continuing. I actually met Chloe a few years ago. After she got married, I lost track of her. But about a year ago, I saw her and Annie on the street by chance. Annie looks so much like me that I started keeping an eye on them from a distance. Have you and Annie taken a DNA test? Sophia asked curiously. I've thought about it, Liam admitted. But Chloe is already married. A DNA test could disrupt her life, and I don't want that. Annie likes me a lot, that's enough for me. I don't need a piece of paper to tell me anything. Just then, Sophia's stepmother, Mary Zhong, happened to be passing by the restaurant. Noticing a small crowd gathering outside, she squeezed through for a better look. When she saw Marco, Sophia, and Annie together, she was shocked. Annie. Why is she with Marco? She wondered, startled. And who's that man? Why does Annie resemble him so much? Mary mused, her confusion growing. Back at the Tang family mansion, Mary Zhong stormed into the living room, furious. Hector, tell me everything, she demanded, glaring at her son. Whose child is Annie Tang? Is she really yours? Mother, what are you talking about? Annie is my child, of course, Hector replied, his voice tense. Still trying to deny it. Do you want a DNA test? Mary shouted, showing him a photo of Annie with Liam. Hector fell silent, staring at the image. At the restaurant, Sophia turned to Annie, her tone gentle. Annie, do you want Uncle Liam to be your daddy? But Uncle's uncle, Annie replied, puzzled. Why would he become my daddy? He can love you like a daddy after he becomes your daddy, Sophia said, smiling softly. Annie looked down, her expression darkening. But Daddy doesn't love me. He's never home, And grandma always bullies mommy. I hate them. I don't want a daddy. Daddies are bad. She cried, tears spilling down her cheeks as she clutched her hamburger. Sophia's heart broke at the child's words, but before she could respond, little Romeo jumped in. Don't be sad, sweetie. Annie's my sister now. I'll protect her at school, he declared, standing tall. Meanwhile, back at the Tang mansion, Mary Zhong continued her interrogation. You planned for someone else to father a child with Chloe. Are you out of your mind? She screamed. How could you raise another man's child? Hector remained calm, though his gaze was heavy with sadness. If father and grandmother knew I was gay, they'd disown me or worse. Getting married and having a kid saved me a lot of trouble. They stopped bothering me after that, he explained, his voice quiet. For your selfish reasons, the Tang family has been raising a child that isn't even ours for years. Mary slapped him hard across the face. All you ever think about is yourself. You're unreasonable, mother, Hector said, his cheek stinging. Father only cares about his career, grandmother's obsessed with money, and my sister is scheming. No one in this family is normal. That's why I feel suffocated here. I can't take it. You'll be the death of me. Mary screamed, storming out and slamming the door behind her. But once outside, a dark thought crossed her mind. Since Annie isn't Hector's child, we could sell her to pay off the rest of the loan. She quickly pulled out her phone, her expression sinister as she began making plans. The next day at school, Romeo spotted two strange men grabbing Annie. Let go of me. Who are you? Annie screamed, struggling in their grip. Hey! What are you doing? Let her go now. Romeo yelled, pointing angrily at the men, his heart racing. Let go of her. Little Romeo shouted, hurling a stone at one of the men. This brat's annoying. Take him too. The man holding Annie snapped, as his colleague grabbed Romeo and they hurried to their van. Help! They're kidnapping us. Romeo shouted, drawing attention as the van sped off. Inside, Annie sobbed. Quiet. One of the men barked. Romeo, arms crossed, didn't flinch. Do you know who my dad is? He asked. Who cares? The man replied. Now we've got an extra kid to deal with. What do we tell the boss? His colleague asked. Romeo met their gaze. My dad is Marco Jian. My grandpa's Zach Jian. Mess with me, and you'll pay. The kidnappers froze, exchanging glances. Master Jian's son? They whispered in shock. The heir of the Jian family? Little master, this is all a misunderstanding. We just want the girl. We'll let you go, okay? One of them stammered. No, Romeo said firmly, pointing to Annie. She's my sister. If I leave, she comes too. Sister? Master Jian has a son, but a daughter too? They hesitated, studying his face. Could he be lying? Meanwhile, at Romeo's school, police cars crowded the entrance. Sophia, tense, approached a woman nearby. What's happening? Two kids were kidnapped, the woman replied. Kidnapped? Who? Sophia asked, her heart sinking. A boy and a girl, someone chimed in. The boy wasn't part of the plan but jumped in to protect the girl. They took him too. Sophia's voice trembled as she turned to Marco. Usually, Roro would already be waiting for us. Did he get kidnapped? Worry filled her eyes. Marco gently took her hand. Stay calm, he said, guiding her toward the group of policemen. Let me see the security footage, he instructed. It's Master Jian. One of the officers exclaimed upon recognizing Marco. However, the news wasn't good. The security camera was damaged before the kidnapping. This was planned, he tells them. But one of the parents caught it on video. Another officer said, rushing over to show the footage. Sophia gasped when she saw the video. It's Roro, and Annie. Her face paled as she watched. The policeman frowned. These kidnappers aren't on our wanted list. We'll need to run their faces through our database. Suddenly, Liam appeared, grabbing the phone. His expression hardened as he watched the footage. I know that man. Sophia perked up. Really? Who is he? Liam's voice was cold. He works for Boss One, the head of the largest credit company in the city. I've seen him at meetings with their people. Later that night, Marco and Liam made their way to Boss One's headquarters in the western part of City A. As they approached, Marco ordered his men to surround the building. No one leaves without my permission, he said, his tone firm. What's going on? One guard muttered, noticing the incoming crowd. I don't know. Is it someone from another faction? Another guard replied, eyes narrowing. Wait, that guy looks familiar, the first guard whispered. Just then, the doors swung open, and Boss One stepped out, surprising his men. He walked forward, a smile spreading across his face as he recognized Marco. Master Jen. What an unexpected visit, he said, his tone cheerful, while his men exchanged astonished glances. Boss One welcomed Marco into his office, both men sitting across from each other. Boss One, you seem to be getting bolder. You dare mess with my people now? Marco's voice was calm, but his displeasure was clear. Boss One looked confused. Master Jen, this has to be a mistake. No matter how bold I am, I'd never touch your people. He protested. Oh? So you're saying I'm wrong? Marco asked, his tone icy. Before Boss One could respond, one of his men leaned in and whispered in his ear. Boss One's tense expression shifted as he took in the news. Master Jen, it's all a misunderstanding. My men didn't know what they were doing. They were sent to take a girl used as collateral, but they accidentally took your son as well, he pleaded, quickly dropping to his knees. But once they realized who he was, they treated him well. No harm came to him, I swear. Marco's eyes narrowed. And do you even know who that little girl is, the one you kidnapped? His voice had turned cold. Boss One stammered, isn't she the Tang family's granddaughter? Mary Zhong gave her to us as collateral, which is why we took her. So, it's Mary Zhong's doing, Marco thought, his expression growing colder. Boss One, we've both been in this business for a long time. What's the most important thing on the streets? He asked. Loyalty, Boss One replied, startled, sweat forming on his forehead. Marco pointed at him. That girl you took, she's my wife's niece, my son's sister, and the daughter of the Yu family, he said, gesturing toward Liam, who stood silently beside him. Boss One's face went pale. Master Jen, Master Yu, forgive me. I didn't realize who she was. I would never have touched her if I had known. He bowed deeply, panic seeping into his voice. I've been dragged into this mess because of Mary Zhong. Liam's gaze was sharp, his usual calm demeanor gone. Boss One could feel the weight of his fury. Master Yu is always so composed, but today, Boss One thought, fear gripping him. I'm finished. Marco leaned back slightly, tapping his head. That's why I said, to survive out here, especially for someone like Boss One, brains are more important. You're absolutely right, Master Jen, Boss One replied, still bowing, his voice laced with nervous deference. Now, we're all busy men, Marco continued, his tone firm. Bring my son and the Yu family's daughter here, Boss One. Quick. Invite little Master Jen and little Miss Yu out. Boss One barked, turning to his men. Liam, standing nearby, smiled to himself at the title. Little Miss Yu, sounds just right, he thought, pleased. Let's settle this today, Marco said, his expression serious. But since you frightened my daughter, there's a price to pay. You're a smart man, Boss One. You understand what I mean, don't you? Boss One's face paled. Of course, Master Yu. I'll take care of it, he replied hastily, clearly terrified. Just then, little Romeo and Annie entered. Romeo held an ice cream cone while licking a lollipop. Who allowed you to eat that? Marco's eyes darkened as he swiftly took the sweets and tossed them away. Liam knelt down, his face softening. Annie, Uncle's here to take you home. Annie ran to him, hugging him tightly. Marco and Romeo exchanged side glances, both looking slightly awkward at the sight of the emotional embrace. Neither spoke, their tension palpable. Romeo, Annie, Marco said, his voice regaining its authority. Thank this uncle for his hospitality. The two children turned to Boss One. Thank you, uncle, they said politely. Boss One forced a smile. Don't mention it. It must have been hard for little Master Jen and little Miss Yu, he said, but the unease in his voice was evident. Once Marco and his party had left, Boss One's expression darkened. That which Mary Zhong nearly got me killed, he muttered through clenched teeth. Slamming his fist on the table, he stood. I'm settling this with her, now. At the Tang mansion, the doors burst open, startling Mary Zhong. Boss One? What are you doing here? She stammered, her voice trembling. Before she could react, her cries echoed through the halls as Boss One's men taught her a painful lesson. I'm back, Sweetie. Little Romeo called out excitedly as he arrived home. Roro. Sophia shouted, rushing out with tears welling up in her eyes. She embraced him tightly, sobbing. Sweetie, why are you crying? Don't cry. Did someone bully you? He asked, his face tensing up as they broke the hug. That's not it, Roro. I was just so worried about you. These are tears of joy now that you're back safely, she explained, wiping her tears. Okay, don't cry anymore, sweetie. See? I'm back safely, Romeo said with a smile. Sophia nodded, smiling back. Yes, I'll stop. Marco stood nearby, watching the scene unfold. Mrs. Jen, little Master Jen, where should I stand? He asked, his voice tinged with playful jealousy. You're the president of Genyi Group. Aren't you embarrassed to be jealous of your own son? Sophia teased. Marco, blushing, chimed in. No. Roro, I made all your favorite dishes. Let's ignore him and go eat, Sophia said, taking Romeo's hand. Great. Sweetie, I have so much to tell you. I was so brave today. Romeo exclaimed, his face lighting up as he and Sophia shared a smile. Meanwhile, Annie sat with Liam. Uncle, I miss my mummy, she said softly. One went to confront Mary Zhong earlier, Marco explained, placing a hand on Liam's shoulder. Mary admitted that Annie isn't her biological granddaughter. That's why she wanted to sell her. Liam froze, stunned by the revelation. So, Annie really is my daughter, he thought. Let me help you find your mummy, okay? Liam said gently to Annie. Really? Thank you, Uncle. Annie beamed. I've kept my distance from Chloe's life for so long, but it's different now, for Annie, Liam thought as he watched her. Let's go to dinner, Annie, he said, standing up. Okay, she nodded, smiling. Liam, Annie, I made plenty of food. Come and eat with us, Sophia called out, drawing their attention. Sweetest cooking is the best. Romeo exclaimed excitedly as Sophia fed him. Marco suddenly covered Romeo's mouth. What are you doing? Sophia asked, startled. I'm jealous, Marco admitted with a serious face. Sophia's face turned red. I have no complaints. In fact, I love the smell of jealousy on Mr. Jen, she said, hugging him. Mrs. Jen seems quite pleased with herself, Marco remarked, amazed. Of course. How could I not be pleased when the president of Genyi Group gets jealous because of me? She responded with a smile, still wrapped in his arms. Mrs. Jen, do you know the consequences of being too pleased with yourself? Marco asked, drawing Sophia's gaze before leaning in to kiss her. They kissed passionately, causing Liam to quickly cover Annie's eyes, his face flushed. Stupid daddy, let go of me. Romeo protested, squirming as Marco's hand remained over his eyes. Despite Romeo's complaints, Marco refused to budge. Stop it, the kid's already making such a fuss, Sophia laughed, gently pushing him away, her face now flushed, her lipstick smudged. Marco held her chin, smiling. Mrs. Jen is clearly enjoying this. Why pretend otherwise? He teased. Oh my God. Shut up. There are other people here. Sophia blushed, covering his mouth with her hand. Marco chuckled but shifted the conversation. I'm going to Country M for business tomorrow morning, he said, holding her hand. What? Sophia's expression turned serious. That's a bit sudden, isn't it? It can't be helped. The person I'm looking for is Stephen. He's a legend in the business world, and his whereabouts are famously mysterious. I heard he'll be in Country M this time, so I'm going to meet him myself. I'll probably be gone for a week. Sophia nodded, concern flashing across her face as she hugged him. Okay. Just be careful on your trip, she tells him. Why do I suddenly have a bad feeling? She murmured to herself, unable to shake her unease. The next morning, Secretary Lee knocked calmly on Marco's door. Young master, it's getting late. We should go now, they announced from outside. Inside the room, Marco and Sophia were still wrapped in each other's embrace. Come with me? Marco pleaded softly. I can't, she replied, her gaze sad. I don't feel safe leaving Roro alone. I promised him after my last trip to Thailand that I wouldn't leave again for business. And now that Sonia's back. Who knows what she might do to Roro? She thought silently, anxiety creeping in. Looks like Mrs. Jen is very confident in herself, Marco remarked with a playful smile. What do you mean? She asked, startled, tension growing in her eyes. "You're clearly not worried about your husband cheating on you," he teased, twirling a lock of her hair in his fingers. Sophia smiled, hugging him tightly. "My husband is the rarest and best man on earth. How could he cheat on me?" she said, her face flushed with affection. "I don't know if I should feel happy or sad that Mrs. Jen feels so safe with me," Marco mused, smiling. "Happy, of course. I'm just saying you're a model husband who has earned his wife's trust," she replied with a wink. "Sit properly," Marco ordered, shifting to a more serious tone. "When I'm not around, Mrs. Jen must be very strict with herself. Don't look at other men and don't flirt with anyone. If I find out about it, you'll see how I punish you," he said, pointing at her. Sophia giggled and nodded. Yes, I'll behave." "President, it's time to go. We're going to be late," Lee called from outside again. Marco sighed, turning toward the door. "You deserve to be single, Lee," he joked, causing Sophia to laugh. "Okay, go already. Hurry back early. I'll be waiting for you with Roro," Sophia said, nudging him towards the door. "Be good, Mrs. Jen," Marco said, planting a soft kiss on her head before leaving. Sophia stood by the window, watching his car drive away into the distance. She sighed, giving herself a small pep talk. "Don't be down. A week will fly by." She smiled to herself, trying to stay upbeat. Suddenly, the driver gently knocked on the car window, snapping her from her thoughts. "Young mistress. We've reached the school," he said. Sophia blinked, disoriented. "Already?" she mumbled. "Wasn't I just in the room a minute ago? How long was I in a daze?" She wondered inwardly, feeling momentarily unsettled. "I'm fine," she assured him, stepping out of the car. As she walked, a young girl's voice called out, stopping her in her tracks. "Mummy, Mummy. Don't ignore me. Don't abandon me." The girl's voice pleaded, pulling Sophia's attention sharply. Sophia gazed at the child in front of her, bewildered. Where did this kid come from? Why does she look so much like me? She thought, her mind racing. "Mummy, Mummy. I finally met you. I missed you so much," the little girl said, her cheeks flushed as she ran towards her. "Are you talking to me?" Sophia asked, her voice full of confusion. "She really looks like me. Could she be the child I lost 5 years ago? But that was a boy." Sophia's thoughts spiraled. "That's right, Mummy. Don't you miss me?" The girl's voice was hopeful, her eyes wide and innocent as she approached. "But I don't know you at all," Sophia exclaimed, taking a step back, still trying to make sense of the situation. Just then, Twain appeared, pulling the child by the arm. "Sophia, long time no see," he said, his voice unsettlingly familiar. "Who are you?" Sophia asked, her voice trembling as she stared at him. "Uncle, this auntie says she doesn't know me," the girl said, looking up at Twain. He crouched beside her, his voice dropping to a whisper. "If you want to reunite with your daddy and mummy soon, just do as I say. Otherwise, you'll never see them again," he whispered with a smirk, his tone menacing. "No, I can't cry," the girl protested softly. The man pinched her arm, forcing tears from her. "Cry and ask her why she doesn't want you anymore," he hissed. Tears streamed down the little girl's face as she cried out, "Mummy, why don't you want me anymore? This uncle is mean. Won't you take me home?" Her sobs grew louder, drawing a small crowd. "Stop crying, please." "I really don't," Sophia started, panic rising in her voice. But the man, Twain, cut her off with a mocking laugh. "I didn't expect you to be so heartless, Sophia. We were both willing participants when we arranged for you to be a surrogate mother, and the business was completed. But your blood still flows in this child." Sophia's heart pounded in her chest. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice shaky. Twain's expression darkened as he pointed at the girl. "She has leukemia, and it's acting up again. The last time she got sick, we managed to get your promise to donate bone marrow. Now that her illness has returned, all she wants is to see her mother. How can you pretend like you don't know her?" he accused, his voice dripping with false sympathy. "I don't know anything about this," Sophia cried, her shock and confusion mounting as the crowd murmured around her. Twain's words hung in the air, and Sophia felt her world tilting off its axis. Sophia, still confused, responded, "Sir, you must be mistaken. I've never seen you or this child." Twain, however, persisted. "Sophia, look at this kid's eyes. Do you still deny it?" he asked. As she looked at the child, Sophia felt an unexpected connection, thinking, could this really be my child? She trembled at the thought. Trying to piece things together, she asked, can you tell me what happened 6 years ago? I was in an accident back then and lost my memory. Twain, growing frustrated, retorted, do you think I'm a fool? You donated bone marrow to this child 3 years ago because she had leukemia. Now you're saying you don't remember? Sophia, visibly angry, replied, that's nonsense. Even if I don't remember 6 years ago, I know I would never betray my body like that. Twain, unimpressed, simply said, forget it. The kid kept asking to see her mother, so I had no choice but to bring her. As he pinched the crying child, she wailed, Mummy, take me with you, please. It hurts. Sophia's concern grew. What's wrong? Where does it hurt? She asked. What are you trying to do? He asked, as she stepped closer. Twain snapped, I thought you didn't want to recognize her as your daughter. What right do you have to carry her? Finally, Sophia admitted, I admit it. Twain's plan was unfolding as he had hoped. Since she's admitted it, everything else will be easy, he thought. You didn't want her in the past, so you can forget about seeing her in the future. She doesn't have a mother like you anymore, Twain said coldly as he walked away with the child, leaving Sophia heartbroken. 2 days later, the story erupted online. Old Wu's latest exclusive report claimed, Sophia Tang, the young mistress of the Jen family, was involved in an illegal surrogacy 6 years ago. When the child was diagnosed with a serious illness, she abandoned her. The father had to pay a huge amount of money for her treatment. Now, to protect her status in the Jen family, Sophia refuses to acknowledge the child. As the news spread, it sent shockwaves through the public. Could this really be true? People wondered. Even her colleagues were stunned. How can someone who did this be the president's wife? One of them asked, the office buzzing with disbelief. Sophia arrived at the Jenyi Group office and was stunned to find the lobby filled with reporters. Miss Tang, do you have anything to say about your past as a surrogate mother and hiding your identity to seduce Master Jen? One reporter asked. Another added, Miss Tang, it's rumored that you hated your stepmother, broke her legs, and even disfigured her. Is this true? More accusations followed. Miss Tang, is it true you made your grandmother so angry she had a stroke and sold your sister to the brothels? Sophia stood still, overwhelmed by the barrage of questions. What's going on? She wondered. Aren't the rumors over? Why is there a bigger storm now? Hearing the shocking claims about Mary Zhong's injury and her grandmother's stroke, she suspected Sonia's involvement. I didn't do any of those things. I'm being slandered, she tried to defend herself. You all work in the news industry. You should investigate thoroughly before reporting anything. Otherwise, when the truth comes out, you'll be held responsible for these false reports. Her words caused the reporters to hesitate, tension filling the air. Just then, Fifi Yu intervened. Is the Jenyi Group a place where you can just barge in? Get out. She yelled at the crowd. Meanwhile, Sonia, disguised among the onlookers, smirked, pleased with how her plan was unfolding. Sophia still thinks she can talk her way out of this. But I'm ready, Sonia thought, signaling her people. Beat her up. An evil woman like her is dangerous if left alone. A woman shouted, hurling a soda can toward Sophia. Why waste time talking to this kind of witch? Another joined in. Look out. Fifi shouted, pushing Sophia out of the way just in time to avoid the flying can. Fifi, thank you, Sophia said, shaken. These people are crazy, Fifi muttered. Unbeknownst to them, a woman approached Sophia from behind with a hot cup of coffee, aiming to spill it on her. Before she could, Shania appeared, causing the coffee to spill on the attacker instead, who fled in pain. Look, someone's trying to steal that reporter's wallet. Yo-Yo shouted, pointing at the woman who had just thrown the soda can. I'm not a thief. I'm not. The woman protested. Yo-Yo pressed on. Then why did you put your hand in his pocket? The reporter, who had been questioning Sophia earlier, quickly distanced himself. What are you talking about? I don't even know her. In the chaos, Shania discreetly tripped the woman, causing her to fall onto the reporter. Wow, are people this bold now? Doing things like this on live broadcast in public. We inexperienced ladies can't bear to watch anymore. Oh no, her chest is about to be exposed, how shameless. Yo-Yo teased, causing a commotion as the crowd became rowdy. Shania and Yo-Yo winked at Sophia, announcing their arrival. Sophia smiled, relieved to see them there to help. I didn't. I was framed. The woman protested, while the reporter looked bewildered. I don't even know her, let alone touch her, he added, still confused by Yo-Yo's accusations. You two were the loudest earlier, and I saw you throw something at her. You'll have to pay the price for bullying Sophia, Yo-Yo thought to herself, though she kept a calm expression. Run now, Shania urged, grabbing Sophia's hand as they dashed into the office with Yo-Yo. Why are you and Yo-Yo here? Sophia asked once they were safely inside. This blew up online, Shania explained, determination in her voice. We heard they were going to ambush you at the office, and I thought we couldn't let that happen. So, I brought Yo-Yo and came straight here. Thank you both so much, Sophia said, clearly relieved. I knew you don't spend much time online, so you might not know how bad it's gotten. You should go home now, Shania suggested. Let's take the car from the underground parking, Sophia replied, agreeing. Shania then asked, say, how is that Adonis of yours not here to protect you? He's away on a business trip, Sophia answered. No wonder. Whoever planned this must know Master Jen isn't around. Do you have any idea who it could be? Yo-Yo asked. At first, I thought it was Sonia Shia. She's caused trouble before, but this is different. She's crafty, but pulling off something this big? It doesn't seem like her style, Sophia said, sounding unsure. Shania gave her a reassuring hug. Don't worry, I'm here now. You don't have to worry about anything. Shania, I'm officially hiring you as my bodyguard. You'll help me chase all the baddies away, Sophia declared with a smile. Sure, but I charge a lot, Shania replied, crossing her arms. 1 braised pork knuckle, Sophia bargained. Who do you think I am? I practiced Wing Chun. 1 pork knuckle? You'll need to offer more than that, Shania joked. 2, then, Sophia countered. Deal. Shania agreed, shaking hands with her. Fifi, watching their exchange, looked confused. Sophia noticed and added, don't worry, Fifi, you'll get some too. Who's interested in something like that? Fifi huffed, hands on her hips, trying to hide her amusement. There's no need to be shy, Sophia teased Fifi, laughing as Fifi's face turned red. And me too. Don't forget me. Yo-Yo added, raising her phone with a grin. Did you catch something good? Shania asked, intrigued by Yo-Yo's smile. I've got something all right. Let's talk about it later. I already have a plan, Yo-Yo replied confidently. Perfect. Yo-Yo's in charge of the brains, I'm in charge of the brawn. With the two of us, no one's going to mess with you, Shania said with excitement. With both of you by my side, I'm not scared of anything, Sophia agreed as they drove to the Jen mansion. When they arrived, Michael, the family doctor, rushed over looking anxious. Sophia, he called out, inspecting her arms and face. Your face, arms, and legs are all intact. Good, good. Otherwise, Marco would skin me alive when he gets back, he sighed in relief. Michael? Shania exclaimed, stunned to see him. Shania. Michael stuttered, just as surprised. You know each other? Sophia asked, noticing Shania's sour expression. I don't know this stallion, Shania denied flatly. Shania, I've been looking for you. I'm not the same person I was a year ago, Michael pleaded. Scram. A leopard never changes its spots, Shania shot back, completely unmoved. I can't do that. Marco instructed me to take care of Sophia and make sure nothing happens to her, Michael explained. Then you can sit outside the house, Shania retorted, clearly unimpressed. Just then, Liam walked in, holding a phone. I found the information about the man and woman causing trouble among the reporters, he said. How could I not do my best when my sister asks for something? Liam, you're the best. Fifi said, excited to see her brother join them. The organizer, the reporters, and even the online netizens, they were all hired. The person behind it is, Liam began, his tone dark, but Sophia interrupted. Sonia Shia? She asked, puzzled. No, it's Twain Zhong, Liam revealed. Twain Zhong? Sophia repeated, shocked. His Mary Zhong's nephew, Liam explained. The Zhong family is full of rats, Shania muttered through gritted teeth. No wonder Mary turned out like that. Mary is the bastard child of the Zhong family. Nobody cared about her, but Twain Zhong? He's dangerous, and we can't underestimate him, Liam said seriously. Now that we can't wait for Master Jen to return, we'll have to work together. But first, we need to understand why Twain would do something like this. Sophia looked at the picture on Liam's phone, tense. Ah. He's the one who brought my daughter to school 2 days ago. What? So the guy in the hoodie in that video is Twain? Shania asked, stunned. I don't know him at all. I have no memory of him. I don't understand how he's involved in what happened to me back then, Sophia said, her voice troubled. Then we have to investigate what happened 6 years ago, Liam said firmly. If Marco wanted to, he could have already dug into it. But he was afraid uncovering those events would hurt you again. To him, your past doesn't matter, only the present does. But things are different now, Michael added. The events from 6 years ago involved a lot of people, and they're using it against you now. Even though I'm no Marco, I can dig up some things from the hospital. With Master Yu's help, we'll find out everything as quickly as possible, Michael promised, referring to Liam. As they stayed in the sitting room discussing their plan, Sophia's phone rang. It was Marco. Is Mrs. Jen aiming to become an internet celebrity? He asked as they video called. I can't help it, she replied with a wry smile. Someone's pushing me into it. So, wouldn't it be petty if I didn't return the favor when I'm back? To keep the Jen family's reputation intact, I've prepared quite the gift. Marco raised an eyebrow. Already taking care of it? Of course. I've got a whole team of think tanks behind me, she said, gesturing to the people in the room. Marco flinched slightly at the sight. Did Mrs. Jen forget what I told you before I left? His tone grew serious. Sophia blinked, confused. What? You're hanging out with other men while I'm away? He asked. What? They're all your friends, here to help me because of you. Sophia said, baffled. No. I'm only here for Shania now, Michael quipped, moving toward Shania before she pushed him away. Who asked for you? Scram, Shania snapped, adding to the chaos. Marco ignored the bickering, his focus unwavering. Secretary Lee, get to the airport. Now, he ordered. Chairman, we just got Mr. Stevens' schedule. Are you sure you're heading back now? Lee sounded unsure. Sophia, overhearing, jumped in. There's no need for you to return. Why? Worried you won't get to spend time with other men when I'm back? Marco asked with a teasing edge. Mr. Jen, don't you trust me? Sophia shot back. It's not that, Marco said calmly. Then let me prove myself. Stay in Country M and handle business with Mr. Steven. I'll take care of things here, she reassured him. Marco smirked. Mrs. Jen's intelligence is already so low, and you still need to think? Will you become an idiot in the future? He teased before ending the call. Not long after, Sophia and her team returned to the Jen Yi Group building. As they arrived, the press swarmed them. She's here. A reporter shouted, causing a rush of cameras and questions. As the young mistress of the Jen family, how can you not even spend money on your elder's medical treatment? Is it because you're backed by the Jen family that you think you can challenge basic morality? One reporter demanded, followed by more, all pressing about the plummeting stock prices linked to her. Sophia remained calm as the reporters fired off questions. This is a live broadcast, right? She asked, unfazed. One reporter, wearing a smirk, stepped forward. You're being so arrogant, even though you know it's live. You're not showing any respect to the public at all. Sophia smiled. Mr. Reporter, I'm genuinely impressed by your creativity when it comes to making money. What do you mean? He asked, his smirk fading. You and your lover have been slandering me and the Jen family, easily raking in hundreds of thousands. Honest people don't make money that way, she replied coolly. The reporter's face tensed. You're spouting nonsense. I'll sue you for slander. The eyes of the public are clear, and they see everything. That's true, Sophia agreed, unruffled. The eyes of the public are clear. You'll receive a letter from our lawyers soon. But before that, you might want to check your Weibo account. The reporter, visibly sweating, quickly pulled out his phone. His face drained of color when he saw his secret affairs and a bank transfer to his lover's account, all posted publicly as evidence. You dare slander me? He shouted, stepping aggressively toward Sophia, his anger evident. Just as he prepared to confront her, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen and froze. It was his wife. You bastard. Her voice erupted through the call. How dare you have a lover behind my back? I'm divorcing you, and everything will belong to me, she shouted, her fury shaking him to the core. The color drained from his face as her words sunk in, leaving him visibly terrified. Before he could act, Shania stepped in and landed a punch squarely on his face, sending him sprawling to the ground. A weakling who thinks he can fight? She scoffed, clearly enjoying the moment. Meanwhile, the phone of the reporter's lover rang. It was her fiancé, who immediately cut ties with her, ending their relationship on the spot. How does it feel to taste your own medicine? You've slandered so many people. This is just karma. Yo-Yo chimed in, turning to address the rest of the reporters. And you, she said, pointing, you're all from the same online company, aren't you? Expect a lawyer's letter. One of the reporters, looking panicked, tried to deny it. I don't know them at all. Are you trying to change the subject? Another reporter muttered, as all their phones simultaneously beeped, signaling the arrival of legal notices. Their fear was palpable. Yo-Yo gave Sophia a thumbs up, smiling. Among the crowd, Sonia, still disguised, watched in disbelief. How did she find out about my secret online army in just a day? She thought, fuming. Even if she had help, her friends are just regular people. Where did they get the manpower and resources to uncover this? Shania and Yo-Yo, now beaming with confidence, turned to Sophia. Don't let these weaklings get in your way. Let's get back to work. As they started to walk away, someone called out, Young Mistress Jen, please wait, causing Sophia to pause mid-step. More reporters approached with fresh questions. Young Mistress Jen, are the things written about you online true? Do you have anything to say in your defense? One asked. Young Mistress Jen, a large number of people online are suddenly defending you. Did you hire an online army? Another pressed. Your cruelty towards your stepmother and grandmother has enraged netizens. Many businesses under Gen Y Group are now being boycotted. What's your response to that? They continued, piling on the allegations. Sophia felt the pressure but remained composed. These reporters aren't hired by Twain, she thought, but their questions are sharp. She straightened her posture and addressed the group. I believe everyone here represents impartial media outlets, and I trust you'll report the truth without distorting the facts. She paused before continuing, her tone calm but firm. As for Mary Zhong being disfigured and my grandmother suffering a stroke, those incidents have nothing to do with me. Mary Zhong owed a significant amount of money to creditors and used her granddaughter as collateral. When they angered these creditors, they sought revenge. I encourage everyone to look into the situation properly so that I can be cleared of these baseless accusations. The reporters exchanged uneasy glances as they processed her explanation. Shania, standing nearby, placed a reassuring hand on Sophia's shoulder, visibly pleased with how she handled the situation. But the questions continued. If it's all slander, then what about that little girl who looks exactly like you? One reporter asked, pressing on. Sophia took a breath. I'm very sorry about that. I haven't gotten to the bottom of it yet, but I'm investigating. Once I have the truth, I'll provide a full explanation. I promise to cooperate fully with everyone here. She bowed slightly, her gesture causing the reporters to momentarily pause, tension hanging in the air. I'm really sorry, but this is a company, and I can't let my personal issues disrupt its operations. My friends from the media, please leave for now. Thank you, she said, maintaining her politeness as the reporters gradually departed. Finally, I can get back to work, Sophia thought, breathing a sigh of relief. Young Mistress Jen, the board of directors would like to meet with you, a staff member informed her with a straight face, catching her attention. The board of directors? Shania asked, confused. They're here, just like Fifi said, Sophia mused. Please head to the directors' meeting immediately, the staff member urged, leading the way. Sophia was ushered into the boardroom, where the members sat with angry expressions. I'm not just Marco's wife now, I'm also the daughter-in-law of the Jen family. I can't show fear in situations like this, she reminded herself as they greeted her. Good morning, shareholders, she began, but one member cut her off sharply. Enough with the formalities. Let's get straight to the point, a man said. Young Mistress Jen, unfortunately, the online events connected to you have severely damaged the company's reputation and performance, another man added, clearly displeased. With the consensus of all shareholders, we ask that you leave Gen Y Group so we can address this issue. Sophia remained calm. Since the board has already made a decision, I have nothing more to say, she replied smoothly. One of the men, assuming the matter was resolved, said, "Since Miss Tang understands the situation, I'll take my leave." But Sophia interjected with a calm smile. "I do have one question, if I may take a few minutes of your time." "What do you want to know?" "Go ahead," one of the members said, clearly impatient. "You've all been in the business world for many years, and you're recognized as authorities in this field. What I'm curious about is how you can judge my character based solely on one-sided online accounts," she asked. "Isn't it hasty to force me to quit without understanding the full truth? Miss Tang, are you implying we're maligning you without due cause?" one board member asked, narrowing his eyes. Sophia smiled politely. "I'm just a small employee of Jianyi Group. To trouble so many shareholders already speaks to my importance. I wouldn't dare accuse anyone. But I do think it's unfair for respected elders to make such a rushed decision without investigating the facts." Just then, a voice from behind echoed, "Well said." Everyone turned to see Grandpa Jian entering the room. "Father," Sophia greeted, surprised. "Chairman of the board, why are you here?" the shareholders asked in unison, visibly stunned. "The daughter-in-law of the Jian family is about to be fired. If I don't show up now, when should I?" he asked, his tone stern. "Chairman, even if you're here, the board's decision remains the same. It's not that we doubt her character, but for the sake of Jianyi Group's reputation, we must issue a public statement," one man argued. "Yes, because of this, the company's share prices have plummeted," another added. "You stubborn old men," Grandpa Jian scoffed. "Have you even looked at what's circulating online?" he asked, gesturing towards the television. One of the men quickly switched on the screen, displaying a video. The footage showed a man in a hoodie bringing a girl to Sophia, but the man's face wasn't visible at all. It was clear that the scene looked staged, and netizens had begun searching for this mysterious hoodie man. The board members were stunned. "How did things change so drastically overnight?" one man muttered. "The victim suddenly became the slanderer, and the supposed slanderers are now seen as victims." Grandpa Jian looked at them expectantly. "Anything else to say?" "Even so," one of the board members trembled, "young Mistress Jian's actions have caused significant losses to the company. This fact remains. And we don't know if things will change again. To protect the company, we still recommend her dismissal." Sophia remained poised. "It's inevitable," she thought. "I need to step back to prevent further damage. Dear shareholders," Sophia began, her voice steady, "this is my resignation letter." She placed the letter on the table, stunning everyone in the room. "I'm resigning not because of the board's pressure," she thought, "but because I know Twain won't let this go. More challenges are coming, and I must prepare. I have to leave temporarily to protect the reputation and profits of Jianyi Group," she reflected inwardly. Grandpa Jian, observing the situation calmly, thought to himself, "Good. This is what a true daughter-in-law of the Jian family should do." Thank you for joining us on this incredible adventure. If you enjoyed what you watched, please consider liking, subscribing, and ringing that notification bell. Your comments mean the world to us and help us improve. The next episode promises even more excitement and unexpected twists, so stay tuned as we embark on this thrilling journey together. Keep the anticipation alive, and we'll catch you in the next episode.